it's like trauma bonded or codependency. If that's
that codependency aspect, for sure.
Where it's I'd rather be uncomfortably safe than uncomfortably free.
Woof.
This is our space.
Hey friends, Firemouth Anonymous is back. My name is Amira.
And I'm Wendy. We ran into some difficult
Today is that day, guys. You don't even know. Good Lord.
We're just happy to be here today to be able to speak to you about a wonderful topic.
Yes. I'm gonna default it to Wendy, guys. If you knew, Jesus, I can't even say sentences. Lordy be. Wendy, I know that there has been this specific topic that you brought up and you said, I'd love to talk about this today since I've had people coming my way who have been asking me to help them with this. So I'd love for you to take the lead and share.
Well, thank you, Amira.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Yes. So the topic, and we're just gonna, as I like to say, raw dog right into it. There is no nothing easing our way in. We're just going in.
Yes.
Blaming other people or other things for your own unhappiness, which, like Amira said, it's something that has been a theme with people that I've been sitting with for like the last week or 2 weeks. And not that it doesn't happen all the time, but it's just like, it's so in your face, well, in my face, that it's like, okay, it's happening everywhere and it's feeling like it needs to be brought up and sat with. So let's just take a deep breath because I feel like this is going to trigger a lot.
Yes. So this may activate some of you, especially for those of you who are in, I was gonna say, romanticships. Wow. What?
It's okay. We're rolling with it.
We're rolling. For those of you who are in romantic relationships, yes, there may be some activation. So just be prepared. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. We're great.
So it reminded me of like Jafar from Aladdin, what you just saying. I don't know, for whatever reason.
It's like Scar.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
We're good enough. They're the same.
Okay, off topic. Here we go. Focus. So yes, I feel like any kind of relationship doesn't have to be romantic or anything of that sort. I'm gonna just cast a big old net out there and be like, any situation that you're in that's making you uncomfortable. It could be a job, it can be a person, it can be the scent of something, like something's just in your face and triggering stuff in you. And what we've been accustomed to is blame the outside forces for our unhappiness. And people get upset when things don't change. It's like, I will use couples, for example. Well, I keep telling my fulano, that's the Spanish for whoever, honestly, that's fulano, that, I don't like the way he folds my laundry and he doesn't listen to me and he and it's like, okay, pump your jets, like just cool down for a second. Have you expressed to them that you don't like the way they fold the laundry? Yes, I tell him and he doesn't listen. Okay, wonderful. What can you do? Like, how is it making you feel? It makes me feel like he doesn't listen to me. And it's okay. So there, you start getting to like the depths of what's really going on. It's not that the person doesn't know how to fold the laundry. That's just the triggering event. It's triggering you to feel uncomfortable. It's like, well, what is really going on here? It's not the fact that they're folding the right arm first and then the left arm first in the shirt. It's because you're feeling unheard about the way you like things to be done and the other person isn't taking into account how you're feeling about it. Does that make sense? But it honestly has nothing to do with the person. It has everything to do with you and not feeling heard and not feeling listened to and respected. And that's where everything starts short-circuiting, because everybody's like, it's easier for me to blame my partner than to go internally and figure out why my eye is twitching when he's just trying to help me fold the laundry and he's not doing it the way that I want. that eye twitching has some deep nerves to it that is not just coming up because this person's trying to like piss you off.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just becoming, the more awake and aware people are like becoming now, it's like it's time to move past those, I'm gonna call it like, it's like a childlike mentality, if that makes sense. Like, well, he stole my toy. Like, no, like then, you know what I mean? Like, it's what do you think? Where are you going with this emotionally? What is it stirring up in you?
Well, I love that you pose that question, because I know that is posed to everyone that's listening as well. It's not just for myself, because as you were sharing that, I was immediately thinking about my past relationship with my first marriage. And talking about having that sense of control, which I think many of you will probably be able to relate to, is we don't like to give up control, and we all like things done a certain way. And when it's not done a certain way, many of us tend to skip right to the anger instead of taking that pause to ask, where is the anger even stemming from? What is the root of that? Which is what I feel you're talking about, Wendy, right? Where it comes down to, can you take that moment to pause and reflect and say, okay, why is it that I'm so bothered by the fact that, using that laundry example, that my partner folds the right instead of the left, or my partner puts this kind of dish on the top rack instead of this one, when really it's like, well, they're actually helping, and they are, it's just in their way, and we each have our own different ways. So it's interesting, as you were talking about that, I was thinking about my past relationship, and for me, if I'm being honest, it goes back to some childhood aspects where it's like I was told it had to be done a certain way, because if it wasn't, then it was wrong, then I was wrong, then I was useless, or I would, like, all these things that really brought me to a place of lack of self-worth, things of that nature. So, and you'd think, oh, we're just talking about laundry. Whoa, what are you talking about? But it's interesting how something so trivial as doing laundry or putting a certain dish away, how the root of that, believe it or not, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of that can stem from stuff you've gone through in your childhood experiences or even your previous relationships. And as you were sharing that, Wendy, that's what was coming up for me. I'm like, it's not about the fact that it was the right arm over the left or vice versa. It's the fact that when I was told at whatever age, like, but that was wrong, and that makes you wrong, and that makes you useless. And the fact that that person isn't doing it the way I was told that I needed to do it, it's like I was brought back to that 8-year-old self or 15-year-old self or whatever year old self. That's the root for me. So how does that resonate for you?
There we go. We're on a roll. I'm very proud of us right now. Okay. Which leads into why we call these people in. Okay. We call in people into our lives in order to help trigger us, because it then it gives us an opportunity to dive into ourselves and heal ourselves, right? You were just saying that you learned that behavior of how it's supposed to look and what's right and what's wrong from whoever raised you, your parents, your grandma, your whoever.
Right.
But that doesn't make it, like, that was a learned behavior. That's not necessarily what speaks to a mirror. And that's why it's feeling uncomfortable, because now that you're more conscious of who you are as an individual, the things that you've adopted and learned to be your own are no longer resonating with who you are now. You are no longer a 5-year-old that doesn't know what you're doing. You are now at this age, and you've learned and lived so much that the ways of yonder no longer resonate with you. And now that's why you called in the right people in order to push those buttons. And that's why it's like, instead of it feeling like a warm hug, it's like you're getting zapped by a freaking electrical collar. Because it's like every time.
I've seen that visual.
Every time. I'm using the laundry situation because the shit, I lived through it. Okay, Betty hated the way I folded laundry. He fucking hated it, and he didn't like the way I did laundry at all. First of all, So we came to I'm like, okay, you want me to fold your boxers a certain way? Cool. Your shirt is cool. I will do that. You do the actual throwing it in the washing machine and doing the detergent. I will learn how to fold your things the way you like it. And you know what I mean? So we came to a compromise. And to him, it was the same thing that you were expressing, is that he didn't learn to do things a certain way.
Right.
For me, the way I do things to him was sloppy. And it would trigger him, but instead of just internalizing it and reacting with anger and rage, we spoke about it, right? And he was able to make himself heard and witnessed, and I was able to not be like, well, I don't give a who you learned that from, and that's not the way. Like, no,
right.
It's being gentle and being like, oh, I didn't know that triggered you so much. Well, that's something I can fix, but still, like, maybe for him, it was releasing a little bit of control as well. Does that make sense? But we called each other in to learn that lesson, to come into a happy medium. So what I'm going from there is, like, especially in partnerships, when you start getting triggered by your partner, like Amira said, take a step back and be like, wait, what's really going on here? Yep. Like, I called this person in, and this situation that's happening right now, I have co-signed on every part of it, or I wouldn't be part of it, right? You've allowed yourself to engage. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, is they think everything's happening to them. Like, the people are here to piss them off and make their life miserable. And it's like, you. I'm sorry to tell you this, but you chose to be in this unhappy place so you can give yourself the opportunity to realize, acknowledge, and grow.
Yeah.
But that's the Band-Aid people don't like to peel off, because then it's taking ownership of your actions or lack of actions. And within sessions, I feel like that's the topic that people are more stubborn to accept, is that, oh shit, I'm doing this to myself. And it's like, now you have a choice.
Right. Now
you haven't put your whole future and emotional well-being in the hands of someone else. Now it's like, oh, well, now I have to make a choice. And that's another scary part, because sometimes that leads to walking away from things that used to make you happy and that used to fulfill you. And that's going to get to a whole other deeper part. Amira, go ahead. Because that's going to go,
Well, actually, as you were saying that, especially for those who, this might be your first episode, this might be your first time tuning into who we are, what we do. So even just some of the vocabulary that we use, because I remember when you and I first met, you said things in a way where it would really make me start to kind of question, like, how I viewed things. And so you've used words like calling people in and things of that nature. So I would love to kind of break that down a little bit more. That way it kind of gives everyone a little bit of a deeper understanding of, like, what that means exactly. Because someone out there could be thinking, what do you mean I called this person in? Like, I didn't ask for this in my life, right? And it's like, well, you may not have necessarily vocalized it or verbalized it, but depending on whatever situations you were in the past, and again, as Wendy said earlier, whether it's familial, on a romantic standpoint, platonic, business, whatever the case is, it's not necessarily about verbalizing or vocalizing it, but it's just knowing that whatever you may have gone through in your past, whether that's childhood, your other relationships, your energy and who you are and what you're wanting in this life, you're naturally emanating that out, and that's going to be bringing in what the universe feels you are here to learn from and how to continue to help you evolve. And it's like what Wendy was saying, you're frustrated that this person doesn't fold the laundry this way or that way. And just like she mentioned how, she and her fiance, they would talk about, like, okay, this is bothering you. You don't like how I do this. They would talk about it. They would talk about why, and then come to a compromise and things of that nature. Now, if they had continued to fight about it, butt heads, no one's growing, no one's evolving, no one's learning. But the fact that they're like you both are able to come together and say, okay, why does this bother you? Why does this bother me? Where can we be on the same page with this? And that's part of the learning evolution process, in my opinion. So I love that you mentioned that and brought that up as far as talking about calling that in. It's like we are naturally going to attract those persons, places, situations that our soul, our energy is actually craving for, those things that we never got a chance to really work through. And it's going to come to us in those ways. Just like if we pray and ask for patience or guidance or abundance, the reason why we tend to get so frustrated is because we already have a certain image in our head of how it should be coming and what it should look like. And when it doesn't appear in that way, that's why we get so pissed off and upset. And we're like, you don't love me, or God hates me, or universe, or whatever your beliefs are, or lack thereof. That's what causes the frustration and anger and the blame and the shame and the guilt and all those things, because it didn't come the way we wanted it to.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that you have been getting clientele that have all had kind of similar situations, and you've been able to open up, just kind of create some perspective shifts around, hey, it isn't all just about you. It's, what is the universe, God, spirit, source trying to show you from this, from your anger or your bitterness or your cynicism or sadness, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
So I really love that you brought that up.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
I was in something else that was coming up that I'd been sitting with was, again, I think we're going to keep going back to the metaphor of mirrors. And how the people in our lives mirror us, and the things we appreciate in others and the things we don't appreciate in others are literally just reflections of ourselves in so many degrees. So when you're upset at your partner for a reason, they're reflecting something back to you. But that's the problem, is people don't want to accept that you're reflecting something in me that I don't like. And it's easier for me to be like, no, you know what? No, that's all you. Yeah. This mirror on the wall is a liar, and I don't like it, and you're reflecting the incorrect image. And it's like, no, because that's what to me, it's like, if you keep saying, I keep telling them, and nothing's changing, it's because the healing and the changing isn't on them, or else it would have changed. The change and the healing is on you. You keep telling them, well, maybe you need to tell yourself. Maybe it's like you said, it's not about them, it's about you and the opportunity that they're reflecting back to you on where it's like a spotlight. They're I'm gonna go back to calling them in. They're the ones reflecting the light off of themselves to you. Like, okay, this is, you love me and you trust me, and we tend to be very vulnerable and open around each other. So you trust me to tell you all the uncomfortable things about yourself.
Yep.
And then it's up to the person receiving that light to be like, oh, okay, thank you for reflecting that to me, and then do the internal work to be able to adjust yourself so you don't need that annoying light shining in your face anymore.
Unless you like that, but if you want to keep getting blinded, I'm fly bird fly, but I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, because what happens is and I love that visual. That visual is it's almost like a magnifying glass under sun. Right. And it's just the partner or the person that's triggering this uncomfortableness in you. It's like that. And it's like shining the light in your eyes. But if you aren't paying attention, it's just going to keep getting hotter and hotter and hotter until you're blinded.
Yep.
But so it's like, how much more uncomfortable do you need to make yourself in order to realize that this is not about them, it's about you, and that you have a choice to not participate in your own unhappiness. And then there's the other layer to it, is choosing yourself instead of what you feel would make the relationship better. Does that make sense? Like, okay, well, if I just give in and I just don't talk to my partner, then that means we're not going to fight. And but then what happens? There becomes a big elephant in the room, right there. Now you're just tap dancing around each other, and the connection you have is just completely severed, and you're literally just holding on to I don't even know what you'd call it. It's not even an empty space. It's like, what is the word? Dependence? What's that word?
Well, I'm not sure of the specific word, but even as you're sharing about this, it's very reminiscent of what I went through with my first marriage. It's like you're holding on to like very thin strings of hope and thinking like, oh, well, if I, like you said, if I just tiptoe around it, dance around it, we don't fight, keep the peace, everything's going to be okay. Then it's like what, you're running on fumes.
Yeah.
Your car's not really going anywhere.
It's like trauma bonded or codependency.
Mm-hmm.
If that's
that codependency aspect,
yeah,
for sure.
Where it's like, I'd rather be uncomfortably safe than uncomfortably free.
Woof. Yep. So it is both of those spectrums, because you talked about on one end of the spectrum where it's constant arguing, constant nagging, constant like you this. And then we have that other end of the spectrum, like you're talking about now, where it's like, well, I'm just going to keep everything in and then implode every time. And eventually the implosions become explosions. And that doesn't end well for either party. I can attest to that because that's what I went through. I don't recommend it. And the codependency, that is a real thing, friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because I know for myself, like this conversation hits home for me quite a bit in my past relationship, where it wasn't until going through my separation where we talk about hitting each other with those spiritual 2x4s. I was hit with that spiritual 2x4 of like, wow, there was lots of codependency. And on my part, I was also coming from a place of abandonment issues of, well, I don't want to leave because everyone else tends to leave me. And so I'm just going to stay in this, even though I might be miserable and I'm not really happy. So I really appreciate that you're creating these analogies and sharing these different perspectives with us. And for anyone, I just got to take a moment, friends. As we mentioned towards the beginning of this episode, we have been having some tech glitches and issues, and as I'm sure you've been able to see, we don't have our microphones, and that's cool because we're running with it. We're running with it, and you may have heard some little sounds just now, and that was my little pup who wanted to kind of share his thoughts on that too. So
thank you, Asher.
In case you heard that, just don't be alarmed. That was just him putting in his 2 cents.
We have room for everyone.
Yep, everybody. All the aminos.
Yeah.
Everybody. But yes.
But so this isn't just about, like we talked about in the beginning, about romantic relationships. It bleeds into every part of you. Because what is it that you say is like the way you do one thing is
how you do everything.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So selling yourself short or allowing yourself to be in unhealthy, uncomfortable, unhappy places is always a choice you have, right? And for me, I will relate it to work and how many jobs I've been miserable at. And that relationship at one point was exciting and fun and all these things. And it always got to a point where I was unhappy. And instead of, it's so easy for me to blame management or blame, this person or this or that or the other. But when it comes down to it, and it took you and my mom to help me understand that when I was working at the call center.
Yeah.
Where I'm like literally going into anxiety mode, and you're like, it's because this place is like eating your soul up. And it was that Western mindset of you can't quit. You can't quit. I don't care how unhappy you are. You can't quit. But in that moment, I had a choice. Am I going to continue to be unhappy physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, or am I going to make a choice that's right for me and what my soul is asking me to do? And it took 2 seconds for you to say, what is your body feeling? Oh, that my body's telling me to get the fuck out. I gotta go.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm telling you, it's scary. It's a scary thing to do because we're not used to it.
Yeah.
But that's the point that people are getting pushed to, is they're in these relationships with all kinds of things in their lives, negating or really like simply dismissing the things that are truly making their heart sing and just solely focusing on the things that are making them unhappy.
Yep.
Which is, what is making you happy about these relationships? Is it worth the unhappiness? Is it worth the uncomfortableness? And if it's not, then there's a lot of introspection that you need to do. Like, why are you allowing yourself to be unhappy? Like, who are you trying to whose expectations are you trying to fulfill? Right? Like, let's go into our Mexican culture. Okay? With people, I feel like everybody's grandmother had been cheated on in Mexico. You know, their grandpas have, like, my grandpa has, Lord knows how many freaking offspring in Mexico that I don't know about, or women getting abused and beat. Right. And it's just like, well, Catholic Church says we're not supposed to get divorced, and I just have to sit here and deal with this abuse and deal with getting, with this adultery and being treated like shit because, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's been shoved into our head that it doesn't matter how unhappy you are. Anytime you put yourself first, you're a disgrace and you're selfish and you're a piece of shit. And it's not working anymore. Like, our souls and our natural way of being on this plane of existence is not unhappy. And it's just getting louder and louder and louder for the people that are not trying to take ownership.
Yeah.
It's just going to keep getting worse. I'm sorry to say.
Well, and sometimes that's what it takes, unfortunately. Sometimes it takes some people hitting that rock bottom, or it getting so loud to the point where it blows your eardrums out, or like the analogy you used earlier, with having the sun go through the magnifying glass, getting to the point where you get blinded or you get so hot that you are literally on fire, because that's just what it takes sometimes. And we're here just to, again, provide this perspective shift and this lens from the standpoint of why wait until it gets to that point. Take ownership of that now, as scary as it is, because Wendy's been through her own trials, as have I, as we're both sure any of you who are listening, of course, everyone, we've all been through some crazy, crazy shit. Like, let's be real. But look at where you are right now. If you were able to get through whatever that was in the past that you got through to where you are now, you'll be able to get through this next thing too.
Yeah.
And take a look at how much you've grown since some of those previous events that you've possibly gone through. Because again, we've all gone through something. And you may even be in a period in your life where you're doing some reminiscing or going down memory lane and thinking, how the shit did I even survive that? But here you are. If you've done it once before, you can do it again. And just think about all the people that you have in your life now, or all that experience you have now versus what you had back then. We're always collecting, shedding what we no longer are in need of, and taking forward with us what we do want to continue to use to continue to strengthen and amplify in our paths and journeys moving forward. And so why not take that leap of faith? And as Wendy said, yes, is it absolutely scary? It sure as shit can be. But that's why being able to have a support system of some kind, even if it's one person, even if we end up becoming your support system, hint, hint. We'd love to be. It's like having something or someone there just to be able to say like, hey, I got you. Or as Wendy always tells me and tells anyone that she is wanting to help, she's like, I'm here to witness you. And I love that. It's creating that space and that environment and knowing that, hey, someone's here to have your back, as you continue to move forward and try some of these different things, to actually discover who you actually are, what you actually want, and to not feel like you have to just settle and think, all right, I guess this is life. I guess I'm just going to be unhappy for the rest of my life because I have to be. And as Wendy mentioned, a lot of that is unfortunately due to the Western civilization and just how Westerners think. Versus if you look back hundreds and hundreds, thousands and thousands of years ago and even look into different cultures and even like Eastern philosophies and indigenous cultures, which I know Wendy can talk on quite a bit, and that could be a future episode, which I think would be fantastic. It's looking at those aspects and saying, okay, it doesn't make me selfish to actually work on my mental health, emotional health, physical health. In fact, if anything, by being able to really get myself back into this state of joy and happiness and be excited to wake up every day. And even though there might be a little bit of fear, but feel that excitement about like, oh, where's life going to take me? Like, wow, imagine how many more opportunities are going to come into your life. Imagine how many more incredible events are going to occur within all of your relationships, and just how much more you're going to enjoy life.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I love that we're talking about this subject, because I do feel that it's very prevalent with everything that's going on.
Yeah. It's because we're all being asked to shift to higher versions of ourselves, higher frequencies. And I think something that people forget, because we get so stuck in everyday life, is that we forget that we're ever evolving. And people want to base themselves from past versions, like, well, when we first got together, you were like this. Okay, bitch, that was like 10 years ago. I wasn't the same person I was yesterday.
Amen to that.
How are you asking me to be the person that I was 10 years ago? And that's, again, it's not just a partnership. It can be friendships.
Right.
It can be work, anything, your relationship with your dog. It doesn't matter. It's any relationship. You can't ask somebody to be somebody that they're not. And that's the whole thing with relationships, is evolving together. And sometimes you don't. And that's okay. But it's like, some people don't even know who they are anymore, because they've put everything of themselves into a relationship that there is no individuation anymore. It's like, I am like, it's Wendy and Benny. Well, what happens when Benny's not here anymore? Who is Wendy? And people forget that they are their own person. And then it's really scary, because this is what a conversation I had. Look, and I always say this ever since Benny passed. I'm like, you have your partner. If you're not 100% happy all the time, I understand that, because we're all going to have our problems and whatever. But to the point where it's causing you unhappiness every day and questioning your sanity and all this and that, there's something there that needs to be talked about. That's not going to be able to just be forgotten and put on the back burner. Like, this is your opportunity to show up for yourself and love yourself and get back in touch with who you are and what you want right now from this space. After being married 15 years, who is this person now? What does this person want? Because you don't want the same things as before. You've gotten the house, you've got the kids, you've got the, you've got the security. What now?
Right.
And people don't. What worked for you before isn't what needs to work for you now. And I guess that hand in hand with work. Yeah. I'm great. Like, you needed that job back, 10 years ago.
Right.
But is it fulfilling what you're asking for now? And if it doesn't, then that's when having the courage to make the choice for yourself and being able to, like, hitting back on what you were saying about your support system, being able to surround yourself with people that aren't going to preach at you on what you should do, but more witness you and your thinking process from a place of no judgment or like they're injecting their perspective onto things, not just saying, well, I hated my job and I quit, so you should do the same thing. Like, maybe that's not what works for you. Yeah. But at least surrounding yourself with people that aren't going to try and cut your legs out from underneath you, but empower you instead. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll always come to you for mostly everything. But when it comes to other things, I might go to my mom, or I might go to Birdie, or I might go to this person or this person. Like, I always ask myself, who do I need to go to for this?
Right.
And the first person that comes to my heart, that's who I go to. It's because it's for a reason. And I know for me, having a therapist has helped tremendously.
Amen to that.
Being able to rediscover yourself. I feel like finding the right therapist for you, not just saying booking an appointment with a therapist and that's going to be the one. It doesn't always work that way. Finding the right person that's going to help usher in a new version of you, and you feel safe to be vulnerable,
right,
is going to help you tremendously, because that's a perspective, like, how do I say, like a third party looking in, like a hawk looking at you from up here looking down at you. They don't know the other parties involved, so it's not like they can take sides. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It's very objective.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. A good therapist will be very objective. So it's having that kind of support system is very important. But most of all, it's allowing yourself to show up for yourself and to know that you're being held through all of it. And it is scary and it is uncomfortable and all these things, but growth, real growth, tends to be that way. And you're worth the effort. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I think you need to say that again.
You're worth the effort. Like, you put in the effort into everything and everyone else. Flip the script and do it to yourself. Like you said, I don't have to settle to be this unhappy. Is this what my life is going to look like? I've had to say those words to myself before in a past relationship. And I feel like that's what triggered me to be like, I'm not going to do this anymore. I was with this person for 5 years. And it disintegrated in 6 months. And I had to sit with myself and be like, is this what is going to be defined as love for me? And I said no. Yeah. And I had to walk away from that relationship. But here I am now.
Spitting truth. Speaking love into the universe. Telling people.
Right?
Telling them like, you say Wendy, tell them what's up.
No.
Spit it.
The first time in my life that I feel good about sitting with myself in every way. And choosing myself and knowing that I am worth the effort. And I'm not talking about potential suitors showing me that I'm worth the effort. It's me telling myself I'm worth the effort.
I love that.
And that was a doozy. That was a doozy of a list.
And I love that you shared that. It actually made me, I haven't thought about this in years. I wrote a line in one of my songs, and as you were saying that, and I actually wrote this song when I was going through my divorce, and it says, I'm choosing my worth, not my wounds. I hope you see that someday soon. And at first, it felt like that was something I was saying to my partner at that time. And now that some time has evolved, I think it's still very much geared towards that person too. But but now when I think about it, I'm like, I'm actually saying that to myself too, where it's like, yeah, we decided to choose our worth over our wounds. And I'm now seeing it. Just like how you just shared, like, yeah, I've decided to choose myself and here I am. Was it scary as shit when I decided to leave from that 5-year relationship? Yeah, but here I am. And here I am as well, and we're thriving and aliving and figuring things out, and sometimes we, especially here recently.
You said that and I felt like my eye twitched, like, yes, we're thriving.
That's fair. That's very fair, considering the day that we have had, where Wendy has had to stop me from throwing all technology out the window today.
It's all right. It's all right. So, we were gonna get this. We had to get this out. So you see how I'm just gonna put this magic out there. It's like the collective was trying to this. They're like, we don't want to hear the truth.
It's like too damn bad. We gonna do it. We're gonna do it.
Yeah.
So we like this was something that Wendy, brought up, and she's like, hey, this has been like very much in the forefront. I definitely want us to talk about this. I was like, yeah, like let's do it. And so I really, really love just all the different areas that you touched on, how wasn't only just about the romantic type relationships, but all, like you mentioned, all. And I think especially, and if not the most important one, the relationship that you have with yourself.
Absolutely.
And choosing, who you are and choosing that worth.
That's the fountain, right? Like you are the pump, you are the bubble, you are everything, and everything's gonna bleed from you. So that's why it's important to take responsibility, because you're the one that's creating all of these scenarios in order to help you pinpoint where you can feel better. It's not here to tear you apart or tear you down in any way. It only feels like that because you keep ignoring it. That's the only reason why it keeps getting more shittier or feeling shittier, because you're like, no, la 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 la.
You know what that reminds me of? This is what I tell some of my clients too, is I say, it's like the smoke alarms in your house. We don't want them going off all the time, right? Because that would be annoying as shit. But there's a reason why they're there. They're there because if there's ever a fire in your home, you kind of want to know about that, right?
Yeah.
So the smoke alarm, like those feelings, those thoughts, those emotions, everything that's happening, everything that's bringing about some of these emotions or feelings that make you super uncomfortable. Those are just the smoke alarms going off in your home saying like, hey bitch, there's a fire going on in this house. And you're over here putting on earphones, like la 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 la, as like your entire house is burning down.
Yeah, with a freaking smoke. What is it? Like the gas mask on.
Oh yeah.
You're about to choke on the smoke, but you're just like, this is fine.
I'm okay. And you're like, you're not okay. You're gonna go down in the fire. Like we need to have a conversation. So we are here having that conversation, friends. Yes.
This is honestly like I love that we're doing this because I was asking or talking to Amira before we started recording this, and like I really hope that the people that need to hear this.
Yeah.
Because as Amira said earlier, we've gone through these things already. And it's like, if we can help you save yourself from a couple third-degree burns, you know, we're here. But if you choose to continue to walk through these flames, may you be protected and guided. You know, may you find your peace in this this hellfire.
This wild, crazy, beautiful, chaotic humanness journey that we are all on, and just know that you are not alone. There is always someone who is willing and ready to listen, wait, to witness, to be the banks of your river, to be able to shed some light in some way.
Yeah, to remind you that you're worth the effort.
Yes.
To remind you of who you know what, to support you in remembering who you are.
I'd love to talk about that on a different episode too. Go deeper into like what it actually means to remember who you are.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, we got lots in the.
I'm gonna need some caffeine for that.
We got lots in the works, friends. But we love you all, and for those of you who this may have been your first episode, or even if it isn't, it's like find us on Instagram at Firemouth Anon. You know, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Firemouth Anonymous. You can find us on Spotify, Apple. We'd love to hear your comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Share with us. We do respond. We comment. You know, we'd love to hear like where you're at in your journey. Like, tell us, let us know. We are here for that. Yes. And we also sing-song everything, if you haven't noticed by now.
Yes.
All right, friends. Much love to you all.
Yes.
Wendy, do you have any last parting words?
Let's just close it down here. I just want to give thanks to Amira for holding space for me as I shared whatever I needed to share, and to all of you that inspired this conversation. May your fart
Oh, it's perfect. Woo! Like we said, friends, it's that kind of day. It's great. This is great. We're rolling with it. We're rolling.
Now I don't even know where to go. May your farts be healthy. I don't know how to.
I was like, where are we going with this?
I was gonna say your heart. Your heart.
I love it. I was like, maybe she's going into like biology, anatomy.
It's hot in here. May your hearts find the peace it's been asking you for, and may you continue to walk this road with courage and patience and love for yourself. I'm done.
And on that note, friends, we love you. Much love.
Bye.
Peace out. Bye.